Okay, so today we're on the test server, or the Sandbox server, and I've used a title which I don't think is clickbaity. I, I think it does make sense in a sense. I'll explain why. So the whole point of the Sandbox server at the moment is new high explosive changes, you know, for the rounds, and so obviously everyone's on here testing that out. There's actually very few shotguns on the teams this time. There's usually about 4 or 5 in each team in the test server at the moment. But I thought I'd try out the Type 5. So a lot of people consider the Type 5 to be pretty useless, but I think that this change is probably going to buff it, because the high explosive in a new change, while they don't have any splash damage, they don't explode on impact. So this means that you can fire your high explosives through soft cover, through spaced armor if it's thin enough, and all of that. But the downside is that you do significantly less damage if you're hitting thick pieces of armor, and we're going to see this pretty soon. So he's an STI, relatively. Yeah, okay, so I must have hit his gun now, not done much. But you see the other Type 5 Heavy fires a high explosive round at his front and only does about 80 damage, which is far less than it was doing originally, right? So I'm going to go for another shot here. I'm going to aim for his lower plate, and 95 is the best we could manage. Now, you'll see later in the replay why I think this is buffing the high explosive on the Type 5's 15cm gun, but there's another reason as well. I believe it's going to happen around about now. So that round right there wasn't actually a high explosive round. So you'll see it again. I'll shoot at the front of this SD2. I'll explain a bit further. He took out my gun and I've got it re-aimed. Look at that. Now, that is obviously not the high explosive that we were seeing years before, because the replay isn't working very well because it's a sandbox. But there's actually armor piercing rounds for this gun now, in the Sandbox server anyway. Now, they're nothing huge. They've got, I believe it's 680 alpha. Okay, this guy's gonna shoot us, probably. They're nothing like massive, 680 alpha, and they have 240 PEM, so I mean it's usable, you know, but it absolutely changed the way, you know, the possibilities for this tank, them giving it something other than just high explosive. So I've got 2 more replays lined up after this. One of them I'm just using, well, mostly using the AP, and the other one I just purely use the high explosive rounds. Now I do find it tends to high roll quite a lot, which is nice. Maybe it's just a tier 10 thing, but anyway, we'll carry on with the replay. So I'm really low on health. I'm a one-shot for all of them, but this is the AP, so I'm actually able to fire that through the SD2's turret, the top of it. So it's not entirely useless. These are very large caliber rounds. These are 152.4, yep, which is, I think it's tied for the largest caliber with the 60 TP. So you can actually do quite a lot with that when it comes to overmatching the armor on some tanks. Now getting towards the end of the game here, I believe I actually ran out of armor piercing. So that was actually a high explosive round, the premium high explosive anyway. Because I only loaded in like 4 armor piercing rounds, I think maybe 5. When I noticed that it had armor piercing in this. Hang on. There we go, 1000 damage. Now, you probably would have noticed there that the entire side of that 60 TP was green, and that is because because of those new mechanics that they're bringing in with the high explosive, where the high explosive will make it through any soft, you know, armor. So that includes tracks as well. And I'll get onto more of that in the next replay. So I'll see you there. Okay, so back on topic. Yeah, so the high explosive rounds, these changes make them a kind of an amalgamation of what high explosive was, albeit less damage done. A bit of armor piercing, in the way that you can just, you can just fire it through soft cover, just like armor piercing, and all that happens to the round is it loses a little bit of its penetration. And it also incorporates a little bit of heat, which it had before, so no matter what angle you're at, it will still attempt to penetrate, at least at greater angles than armor piercing would. Now I'm just going to skip forward a bit. It's going to take a while to get there. I think this is far enough. The first few rounds I'm going to fire are going to be the high explosive, like the high pen ones that the Type 5 Heavy currently has, which is 192mm of pen, with I think it's 900 alpha damage, so you can easily roll for over 1000, just like in the last replay. And the 60 TP is asking for help, so I'm not going to advance too far. Okay, no, we're not going to advance too far now, because it looks like their team's going for a more aggressive approach. Okay, we get the side of that T-57 Heavy. As you can see, we have no issue going to the side of that. Like, no matter how many times we fire, we will go through. I highly doubt we'll get absorbed in anything. Now, that 60 TP is in a really tight spot. I'm looking for shots in this S-Honk, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've got a 430U and an AMX 50B coming. That 50B would be a pretty tasty treat, so to speak, but I'm going to fire at this guy. And again, we're being let down because we're hitting a thickly armoured part of the 430U. I believe we hit the front of his turret there. We'll see when we zoom in next. Yep, we did. Now next I'm going to hit his hull. Just slightly thinner armour, and you see we do a little bit more damage. Now, as I was playing in other battles, if you shoot at something like a, the side of an STB or the armor of a leopard, you will do about 300 damage, about what you used to be able to. Right here I actually start loading AP again, so I don't think any of them are actually expecting this tank to have AP. I don't think anyone's actually noticed yet. So yeah, I don't know. Escon's coming up behind us, but he doesn't seem interested in us, so I'm going to try and go for some killing shots now. Now I'll just put one into that 60 TP. So he's probably used up all of his repair kits now. I'm backing up now. I'm trying to angle the front of my tank as well as I can. It is relatively reliable against heat. Well, premium rounds in general. I decided to take out the high health T-57 Heavy first. Okay, we're still managing to balance some of the gold rounds there. Okay, now this is a tricky situation. So he's fired and I've got a bit of time. Now I can overmatch the top of his turret there, but he does keep poking up here, so I'm going to put a shot to there. Now I'd like to point out that I would feel pretty confident firing the high explosives through that track there, the premium high explosive anyway, not the standard. And it would still have gone through on Pender's side. Okay, I put a final AP shot into the FV405 and our team caps out, so we actually win this battle. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so in the last battle you saw me firing mainly AP with a little bit of HE as well, just to show the some of the mechanics of it. But this battle I'm going to be basically only firing high explosive here, and just to show you what exactly you can do with this new mechanic where the high explosive doesn't explode, on impact. Instead it will just actually try and go through. So I'll skip forward a bit till we're in the city. Actually, I think we went a little bit too far there. Let me back up a bit. Okay, so riding into the city. So yeah, the games are a little weird. So a lot of these players are playing pretty weirdly. It is a test server after all, so obviously the tank might not be this good. And on the live server, that's what it's called. Okay, so there's another Type 5 Heavy there, so I'm just going to pull up on him and put some high explosive right in his front. Now this is the most thickly armored part of the tank. And there we go, 66 damage. Not just nothing, really. Now, he did fire, so I'm gonna come back again. There's actually quite a bit happening in the middle of the map at the moment, and I really want to see if I can get over and start shooting over at them and supporting a SDB. One. Nope. Watch B. Okay, we'll follow his lead. Okay, I thought I might be able to get shots on the FV, but he's actually behind some of those packages. Oh, there's a bad shot. Okay, that was a pretty bad shot on my part. With his angular armor, he does have a clip of standard rounds, so he's not actually going to be able to pen us. I am reloading here, but I want you to notice that was all green on the side of the E50M. Look at it, all of it's green. Now, even if I was using hash, even, you know, well, I mean, I guess depends on this count, but even hash on a ship barn, you know, with the old mechanics, that would still be showing up red or orange in quite a few places, especially around the tracks, because as soon as it hits those tracks, it just, you know, gets set off and it explodes. But it's not the case anymore with this update. Okay, there's an STRV there. I go for a shot on him, but no. Okay, so I'm gonna come back into cover. Always have some cover to fall back to. Now, I know the STRV 103 has a heat shield, which technically should work against the high explosive as well. But if we do it now, we should be able to. There we go, 300 damage. Now that's about what you're gonna expect against lightly armored targets. It's still a lot less than you know, than the, you know, around the 400 you'd be doing right now. Okay, there's the E50M. This tank's mostly green. Okay, we actually hit him down, kill him. High explosive still retains the its penetration value over distance, just like in how it is on a live server at the moment. So it begs the question as to whether high explosive has been buffed too much in this, which I don't think it has. Not many tanks actually have high penning high explosive. You know, you got like this tank, a bunch of British tanks that use hash, and that's about it, honestly. So you're not going to come across it often. Okay, here's the projector. We haven't actually built up a lot of damage yet, but I put a shot to his side, no issue. It acts like heat, so we don't ricochet off the side, and with these new penetration mechanics that are very similar to AP, I can just shoot right through his side. Okay, we've got an object 26A Vision 4 up ahead. Now, our team is flying high explosive at him, which is understandable. That is the whole point of this test server. But they don't have real high explosive. We have the real high explosive. So now I expect him to poke right where that dead light tank is, and for a moment I should be able to see the side of his tank, and I'm fairly confident that I'll be able to pen. So we just gotta wait for that. Stay aimed in. Here he comes. There we go. He's all green, and we can just finish him off. Almost 1,000 damage he was on, and now it's all just gone, just like that. I don't know how to feel about these changes. Like, they're going to open up a whole range of new opportunities for tanks that use high explosives as their main ammunition. So, I mean, I suppose that's why they're using them, do these test servers, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like a massive impact in the game. There will be a lot less high explosive spammers, and you're actually going to have to acquire knowledge of, you know, different tanks to be able to use high explosive, which I think is a good thing. I should have fired that. That was bad marksmanship on my part, but yeah, I'm all for it, because like you would sit down, you'd be hull down using your armor, but you'd still be getting like 300-400 damage erased off you, no matter what you did, right? You know, they could hit your track and still, you know, remove some of your health, like a decent chunk as well. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, let me know what you think. But I think this is alright because you can. I had another instance in another battle where I did about, I think I did 500 damage to the top roof of a or the top of a an SDI's turret, and that's where you start getting higher damage. So you shoot the center armor and you do a lot more damage. And I've seen tanks roll for like well over half of their high explosive shells alpha damage. So I saw a ship burn. He fired, and he did about, I think, 900 and something damage just from hitting the top of my Type 5 with high explosive. And that's over half of his alpha damage, you know, on his high explosive. And I did the same thing with my 500 roll on top of a, you know, the weak armor of a tank's turret on top. And the same is going to apply for the roof of their hull and the likes. So I think it's a good change. It's not going to change things too much. I think something that a lot of people are worried about is how much things get changed. You know, people don't like change, so they want things to still remain the same while having something different on top of it. And I think this fits the bill perfectly. So yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think of the changes. These are obviously temporary. I don't know if the AP shells in the Type 5 are supposed to be there. I'm assuming they are. They didn't say anything about it on the website or the news bulletins, so I don't know. Just see how that goes. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you next time.